Alrighty, so it's time to feed Maxie, our mulga snake here. Now he's generally a fairly good snake, however, like all of our snakes in particular, once you start playing with rodents, like this guy here, and they get that smell of the rats or the rodents, you have to be extra careful because generally even a placid snake, once he goes into food mode, gets that tongue flickering around, he becomes a different snake, so he comes into hunting mode. This guy's generally quite voracious, as most good eating mulga snakes are. So just flicking around there, his forked tongue picking up the scent particles, and once he works out that that's actually a rodent, he will come out. You'll see that tongue going. Oh, there's his head. There you go. Right there. So he's just punched into that rodent. He's injecting venom as we speak. Even though the rodent is already dead, he's still going to inject venom. So the snake's jaws have elastic tendons on either side, and also at the front of the bottom jaw in the middle of the chin also divides, enabling him to swallow prey items up to 4 times the size of his head. You can see also the skin stretches, the scales stretch, and then once it's past his mouth, he'll start using his neck muscles, basically finish the swallowing process, pushing it down into his stomach. So the rat will be digested from the inside out and also the outside in. So the venom is going to break down and start dissolving the inside of the rat, and his stomach acids will also digest from the outside. Pythons, on the other hand, don't have venom, and boas, so they rely just on their stomach acids. So generally, venomous snakes will digest their food a bit faster than our pythons and our boas. Most snakes can survive quite easily on 1 rat a week. Some will only eat 1 rat a fortnight. And in the wild they can go without food for months at a time. So you can see him pushing that down his body now, using his muscles. So in about 3 to 4 days time, depending on the temperature, what's left of that rat, which is usually a little, and basically just a little tuft of hair, will be all that remains of that rat. You can see he's using his muscles and his tendons now to push that rat further down his body. There you go. That's how King Brown mulga snakes swallow their food. Okay, so we're going to try something a little bit different here. We've got our lovely little Brettles python, and I'm going to actually see if he will take a feed from my hand. And once he smells this, hopefully he will pick it up and then actually grab the rodent and not my hand. So once he gets a little bit of a taste there, you can see the forked tongue moving around. Come on, buddy. There you go. What's that smell? Oh, there we go. He's on. And this is a warm-up for what's going to come in the future. We might have to try this with a couple of larger snakes, I reckon. Basically, this little Brettile, he's from the Morelia family. There's about 21 species of pythons found in Australia, and the Morelia family's quite big. There's a lot of different carpet pythons, it's their common name, found in lots of different geographic areas of Australia, including the green python. This guy here in particular, he's from Central Australia in the McDonald ranges. And we feed him one of our little fuzzy mice here once a week. Now we always feed dead rodents to our snakes. Number one, it wouldn't be very fair on Mickey Mouse there. If we dropped him in the tank, he'd probably have a heart attack. But also rodents have got quite sharp teeth and they can bite holes in the snakes and damage them. So if you risk feeding snakes live, if the snake got bit in the eyeball by a rodent, you would have a half-blind snake. Also, it's not real fair on the old mouse or rat either. But what he's doing there is he's just going to curl that up or wiggle around a little bit more. Wee, wee, wee. He thinks it's still alive when it's wiggling. And then he'll locate the head and swallow it whole. This is a good example as well. What pythons can actually do is they'll pick up the scent trail, then they can sit up in the tree above that scent trail and wait for whatever it is that may be coming along. Now they're quite good conservationists, the old Morelia pythons in Australia. They generally get to 2.5 to 3.5 metres, and at night time they'll come out. A lot of people have them living in their ceilings of their roofs of their houses in suburbia, and they'll come out at night time. They will eat possums, they will eat rabbits, but for all of the irresponsible cat owners out there, this guy will clean up moggy for dinner if you don't put your cats in at night time, which we always advise to do. If you're going to be a cat owner, be a responsible cat owner, have a cat cage, and definitely bring your cats in at night time. As much as you may think that your cat is an angel, at night time they become vampires and they run around and they're going to kill all of our fluffy little gliders, our sleeping parrots, all of our little mammals and marsupials. So put your cats in at night time, be a responsible cat owner. Alright, here we go, he's actually going to start swallowing this one. Now he's located the head first and he's just going to swallow that down from there. Now these pythons can swallow prey items 4 to 5 times the size of their heads, and elasticized jaws there as you can see on the sides here, and the chin also can divide. Some species actually have 4 to 6 rows of independent moving teeth, and they will walk their hooked back teeth over their prey items. Some of our larger species like our olive pythons and our scrub pythons or amethystine pythons from northern Australia have over 50 teeth, hooked back teeth, and they can be quite long and large, and obviously that enables them to secure that prey item and it won't get away. So here we go, he's going to swallow that down now. Out of about 21 species of pythons in Australia, you can see just here he's got little heat sensing pits. 19 of our pythons have these heat sensing pits. The only 2 species that don't are our Woma pythons, Aspidistis, and also our black-headed pythons, which is also Aspidistis family. The black-headed python and the Woma python are reptile specialists, so they're actually lacking these heat-sensing pits here. But all of our other species of pythons have the heat-sensing pits, and so do a lot of tree boas from South America. The difference between the boa family and the python family, I mean, Biodae is the main group, but the pythons actually lay eggs and they wrap around those eggs and incubate them, whereas the boas give birth to live young. Pop him back in his box because this will probably take about another 4 or 5 minutes. And we haven't got that long because we got more stuff to show you. Righty, so we're going to feed one of our Woma pythons now, and he looks like he's hungry. Boom, so he's grabbed onto that, he's constricting it. We'll give him a little bit of a fight, then we'll release him. We'll get one of our rats out of here, which are defrosting. Obviously it's never a good idea to feed anything frozen or very cold to the reptiles because they're having enough trouble digesting it as it is as well. That's why they need to, we need to keep the heat on them, particularly after we've fed them. So go on in your box. Isn't that cool the way they just glide in there? That's like his little cave, his little home. Feels nice and comfortable and safe in there, away from prying eyes. Generally quite secretive snakes. Go on, there we go. That's why I use the hook and see him poke his little head out then. Whatever you do, avoid putting your hands and fingers in there at all costs. Oh, slow-mo. Oh, there we go. So he's got that rat there and he's injecting venom into it as we speak. So instinctively he'll chew his way over and find the head. A lot of the black snakes in particular grab their prey and they really hang on to it, whereas brown snakes will sort of strike and let go. These guys like to hang on. And of course they are reptile hunters as well, so a lot of our snakes that do eat other reptiles generally will grab on and hang on to that reptile so it can't escape. Once it gets the jaws over the front legs, it'll go down quite a bit quicker. Now they have a windpipe, trachea pipe, which will come out and stick out the side, and you'll see that open and close every now and then, and that's their breathing pipe. Because they're opening their mouth so wide, they've got to have that trachea sticking out somewhere. Unfortunately, at the moment it's down the bottom, so it's a little bit hard to see. You're enjoying that, aren't you? So this obviously takes a while, probably about 15 minutes to 20 minutes. But if it's a really large snake with a really large prey item, it might take half an hour or more, maybe even up to an hour, depending on what it is. But they're generally happy to try and eat anything they can fit their jaws over. You can see that's quite a stretch but she can actually eat a much larger rat than this one. This one's a medium-sized rat. She could quite easily eat a large or a jumbo. We can see those jaws stretching, working her teeth over. Also got the muscles here in the neck. Once the rodent starts going down a little bit, she'll use those neck muscles and push that rat down a throat, so to speak. So because they're ectothermic and they rely on the seasons and the sun and the heat to aid their digestion, they don't need to eat all the time, so once a week is fine. We as mammals, we've got to eat all the time, 3 times a day. So that's why these guys are hibernating. June, July, too cold, can't digest their food, so they basically go into hibernation. You can see now she's working those neck muscles, pushing Speedy Gonzales down her throat. And she'll probably stretch out shortly. My fingers on the camera. Boom!
Got him.
Got him. Boom! Right on cue. There they are, happy little campers. Check out this ripper. King brown snake, or MULGA. It's not every day you're up to your elbows in venomous snakes before your coffee. Well, actually, for me it is pretty much every day. But don't worry, the kettle's on. Oh, that's cool. I love the way they just glide into that box. Let's see if he's hungry. Now hopefully he looks at the mouse and not my hand. Ooh! Look at the mouse. Oh, there we go. Got him. Basically asphyxiating his prey and wrap around it if it was alive till it stopped breathing. Obviously we don't want to feed live rodents to our snakes because they'll bite holes in the snakes, and also it wouldn't be very fair on the poor old mouse or the rat. But in the wild, when they catch prey, they can actually crush their bones as well. They've got such massive amounts of power. And I tell you what, if a 2 metre one of these got around your neck, you would have a hard time fighting it off if it really put the squeeze on you. Obviously it wouldn't be trying to eat you, because we're much too big for a 2-metre snake to eat. But for the larger species, they have an amazing amount of pressure there that they asphyxiate their prey with. You'll see that jaws stretching over. So it'll take him a few minutes to swallow that, so what we'll do is we'll pop him back in his enclosure and we'll get another one. Okay, so that's Maxie the mulga. It's time to put him back in his enclosure. Just going to set the camera up there, and then we're going to give him a nice fat rat for lunch. You can see he's not a bad size for a mulga snake. He's just busting on about 6 foot. And he's beautiful creamy colour. So we'll pop him into his box there. There he goes. Bon appetit. Time to feed Maxie the mulga snake, also known as the king brown, who's not actually a brown snake. It's from the black snake family. And we're going to give him his favourite, a wiener rat. Let's check out how these snakes swallow their food. It's quite amazing. So you can see he's using his fangs there to locate the head. He's injecting some venom to help the digestion process. So it makes sense for the snake to swallow his prey items from the head first. The fur has a grain running towards the back. The legs also fold back. If he's got feathers, the feathers will fold back, or the wings will fold back as well. So he's walking his jaws over the prey item using those fangs. He's actually walking his fangs over it. Alright, time to feed the twitchy mulga. Come on. Pumping that venom in. Bazinga! So we'll grab the camera out. Now that is one happy mulga snake. Straightening his body out there, getting into position. Getting his body into a nice straight line. And once he walks his jaws over the head and the shoulders of the rat, then he'll use those neck muscles and tendons to swallow it down. Time to feed the crazy mulga snake. Smell that food, they hang on. Big danger. Maxie the mulga. What a beast. So these snakes are specialist reptile eaters, and the king brown or the mulga. A mulga is probably a better name for him because he's not actually a brown snake. He's more closely related to a red-bellied black snake than he is actually to a brown snake. So if you were actually bitten by this snake, you'd be getting anti-venom for a black snake, not a brown snake. He's loving that. All of our venomous snakes, spiders, centipedes and scorpions will use that venom to begin the digestion process. There we go, that's how Maxie likes his rodents. Good job, mate. Alright, here comes number 3. Hopefully this guy doesn't look at my hand. Here, over here, what's this? Oh, there we go. He's on. It's a good thing he didn't miss that then and get me on the nose. That's another thing you have to be careful, especially if you're tongue feeding venomous snakes. If you're directly in front of that going like this and it strikes and misses and gets your hand, you're going to be in big trouble. So always try and go from the side if you're tongue feeding venomous snakes. You're better off just throwing the food in there for them, but sometimes they need that little bit of movement stimulation to feed. Wow, look at that, he's got a perfect wrap on this guy. Okay, he's just holding on to me there, around one finger. Awesome at climbing these snakes. So he's found in the McDonnell Ranges around Alice Springs in Central Australia. And all of our pythons in Australia are primarily nocturnal, so they'll go through the rock crevices, hollow logs, up trees at night time, and they'll use that forked tongue to pick up the scent particles of any prey items. He'll go into cracks and crevices, he'll eat bats, he'll eat any type of rodents, any marsupials as well that he could find, any other mammals. And he does have the heat sensing bits, so he's primarily a mammal hunter. Warm-blooded prey is what he wants. And when he's full grown, he's about 6.5 kilos. They can eat rabbits, possums, and your cats. So don't leave your cats out at night time. Awesome. Pop him back in his box because this will probably take about another 4 or 5 minutes. So hit subscribe. Thanks for watching Awesome Animals TV, and we'll see you on the next clip.